Hello, everybody. Today we are with our client, Mr. Fierro, who got an approval for EB1A, a talented visa for talented people. Stefan's case is very interesting because he's a scientist slash engineer, which sometimes is inseparable. Stefan, thank you very much for committing this time. And I know you're a busy person to share your experience, and I know we waited until you receive your actual immigrant visas and your passport. Have you guys arrived to the States, or what's the situation right now?
Yes, we are in the States. I'm talking to you from Boca Raton right now, where we found a house to live already. Yes, and it's going very quick, very fast. Like you said, a lot of things to do.
Your case is very interesting, and I think it's very it's like a study case for a lot of people who are in a similar position like you, who have some scientific background and some good jobs somewhere outside of the US. And to make it an example that you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winner to be approved for EB1A category. Tell me, please, a brief description of who you are, where you're coming from, how did you decide to become an engineer and follow the scientific track, and just, in a couple of minutes, what was happening in the past?
Yes, for sure. So I'm a Swiss national, was born in Switzerland, mostly raised there. I started my university there in Switzerland in a very reputable institution. It's the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. So started my studies there as a chemical engineer. And, it went very well for me, especially until the master's. And, a professor wanted to work with me and continue with the PhD. So he convinced me. And for me at the beginning was thrilling, doing research and publishing papers and patents if possible. And it also had the opportunity to give me the chance to be awarded grants and programs by the Swiss government and do an experience abroad. And that's what basically brought me to Japan after finishing the PhD. So got a grant from the Swiss government, went to Japan, continued my research there for about three years. I was assistant professor there at the university, then did a jump to the private sector, worked in different institutions in consulting, in engineering, R&D, and up until what I'm doing now, which is basically solar and wind power. I'm an asset manager managing plants. Been doing so for the past 4 years in Japan, and hoping to pursue the similar kind of career.
So the way your career developed, it sounds to me like I don't want to say a lot of people do this, but many people after the master's degree, they still want to pursue a PhD and they want to do research and work on some projects. So it's definitely the track that you mentioned. That's definitely not only the track to develop yourself as a good asset to any company, but also a track to EB1A, because everything you have to do on that track actually satisfies a bunch of criteria, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit. Let's now talk in details about your petition. Let's remember the criteria that we were presenting to the US government. So let's start with scientific publications. You had a lot of them, so let me talk about it, because that's something like easier for me, because you had so many publications that I don't even think we included all of them. Do you remember the exact number of a total for that?
About 30. I think I have about 30 publications over like maybe 6-7 years that I've worked in academics.
Right, and usually when you pursue a PhD, then that's the time when you put a lot of time in research and start publishing and things like that. and I do believe one or even several of your publications that was like heavily cited by other scientific people. So it's always good to have citations for the publications, just to show to the immigration officer that, hey, it's not just scientific publications. That's something that people accept as a good work. The second one I'll let you discuss, because it's the contribution in the field, and
yes.
I do believe that we mentioned your patents, and
yes.
can you tell us more about what was in the patents, and how it impacted the industry?
Okay, so during that started actually in Japan. So back then, the university I was working for, they were in close cooperation with a local Japanese company in the area of Kyoto called Horiba, and it's a company that develop sensors for environmental and biological purposes applications. The company of concern could launch this technology, this product onto the market. It's a relatively small, middle-sized company, so I cannot say what kind of economical impact our discovery had on their cash flow, but to basically it made the science and the advanced, even for a bit, and
Right.
that was positive. It's always a positive outcome for anybody who does research.
Let's discuss the third criterion. That's the peer review of work of others. And in this criterion, we mentioned that you were on the editorial board of the scientific journal. Let's discuss the fourth one, which is the critical and leading role in a company with a distinguished reputation. And here, it's a Pacifico Energy, right? That's the company. So basically, tell us more about your functions in this company and what actually the company is doing in Japan.
Okay, so the company, it's a relatively small company, has 50, 60 employees, but it has the largest installed solar capacity in Japan, with 1.5 gigawatt of solar capacity, with 19 projects. The biggest project being a 260 megawatt behemoth is built, constructed, and operated by them in the region of Okayama. And when I started there, I was started as a technical manager due to my experience in science. So basically analyzing plant data and make it so that we get more generation of all the assets and more revenues. So that was my first duty. It lasted about 3-4 months, because for the company, someone left unexpectedly, and I took over his role as asset manager. In terms of work content, there's like two sides of things. So you have like the plant side, when you basically lead the team on site for repairs, inspections, maintenance work, so that the plant operates properly. And then you get all the compliance side, which is all on the stakeholders of the asset, investors, lenders, different stakeholders involved in the operation of the asset. Basically, you submit reports, monthly, quarterly, yearly basis, financial reports, operational reports, and make sure that you address the positive and negative covenants of all these agreements, and that's the second main part of the job.
Let's move on. Let's move to the fifth one, the awards and prizes. And you had your fellowship back in Switzerland, right? Can you tell us more about this?
So that's also, first of all, that was very great. You see, this is something that's why it's also, this one is an interesting one, because I didn't think that you could use this as an award actually to fill in that criteria at first. And it's thanks to you guys, and by discussing and talking about all the things I got and what my parkour, will say, was in the scientific community, and so I don't know, you can definitely use this grant as an award. So we decided to use it, and it definitely fulfilled that criteria. So this was basically a grant that I got. It's a program that's made for young scientists, get a decent amount of money for you, sometimes 1 year. It depends, between 1 and 2 years. For me, was 1.5 years in any country you want around the world. So you need to have credentials. They don't give these grants to anybody. So in Switzerland, it's basically originality of the work. You need to submit a research plan that you're going to do in the host institution. The host institution also needs to submit some documents about what they're doing, etc., that they're serious, committed, and on the forefront of the development of technology. And based on all this criteria, there is a panel of judges made up of all the great universities of Switzerland, and they elect a couple of recipients for these grants. And me, I got one to go to Japan.
And the sixth one was the press about you. And I do believe there was one article, and I think you were mentioned there in a format of your inventions, right? So, and correct me if I'm wrong.
So I had already back then, when I was doing research at university, we discovered something pretty significant, and it got the paper got reported on the press of the university. So it was on their on their top page in terms of discovery. If you go on their website right now, the university, you have like some top stories about the new discoveries happening in the labs, and our discovery back then in 2010 made the cut. It was about new materials to better produce hydrogen from water, which is a big topic right now, also in the US. So it was about that topic, yes. So there was that, and afterwards, yes, I got also contacted by two different journals. I don't remember. I think one was named Science Times. I don't have the exact names in my head, but yes,
I think it was Tech Times.
Tech Times, exactly. It contacted to have some articles about my discoveries in Japan and here in the environmental sensor and biological sensor industry, and glad to do it. And yeah, that was definitely something useful for this criteria.
Let's talk a little bit about the process that you had with the EB1A.
Yeah.
So two main questions. Question number one is what was the most difficult part throughout the process of compiling the paperwork for this petition?
The most difficult, like absolutely most difficult, especially because I'm a very bad writer myself, it's to draft all these cover letters that are necessary for the case. Me personally, I'm a very bad writer, so you need to collect these documents and describe them in cover letter in a way that it creates a narrative. It creates a story that's going to convince the immigration system in the US that you are valid for a visa here. So that was the core most difficult thing about this whole process.
So let me ask you the second question. That is, why did you pick and choose us to work with? What was your train of thoughts? Did you consider other attorneys? So why was your choice on our company?
So I started because I know a lot of people in Miami. I started first to look on my site. I looked at what kind of service, the content of service. I looked also, of course, about the fees. This was also important. And you mentioned the women behind the men earlier. Well, that's, I think my wife gets the biggest credit because she's the one who found you, actually. I believe through Instagram, I would believe. I'm not on Instagram, absolutely all. I'm not a big fan of social media myself, to be honest. So that's definitely credit on her. And we had a couple of discussions. She saw your post, she saw your videos, she thought you were great. So she convinced me, yeah, let's give it a shot with Stanislav. I think it's gonna go great. And and long story short, it actually everything went perfect. So that the biggest credit for this goes to my wife.
Very good, Stefan. So we get into close our conversation. So let me ask you the last question, which is not even like a question, maybe like a request from my side. What would you advise to people who are in the position that you were before the beginning of the case, or imagine yourself back in the day when you before you started working on the case? What would you advise to yourself as well with today's knowledge?
Well, with today's knowledge, especially with what happened, I would again think back about the criteria about the grant. Like I would advise to people like me, like maybe that have done research and published a couple of works, that really think about everything they did, every single event, every single conference. Even if you went to a conference and got, I don't know, a prize for the best poster for that conference, anything you did can be could be potentially useful to build yourself a case, that to be confident about your achievements, and really think how you could build this into a narrative. And once you have that, I think I would definitely advise to try to apply for an EB1 if you have this kind of curriculum. I think would be great. But like now with my experience is really think about every single aspect of your past career in science. Anything could be useful to you to build a strong case. That's definitely a big advice I want to give. Yeah.
Very good, very good. So yes, just unroll all the events from the past, see what was happening, and don't be shy about that.
You're right.
A lot of times our clients like, oh my God, this is nothing, but in a legal standpoint, that could mean a lot. So there's no like small things. Everything is important, and of course, very important is to make a move. Because if you don't try, there's no potential outcome. Stefan, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for the trust in our company.
Thank you.
Really wish you and Anna success in the States. I have no doubt in you guys. You're great. And definitely we see each other sometime soon in the future. So have a good productive week, and thank you very much.